First, though, this morning, on a very serious note, a look at so-called designer drugs, which are growing in popularity, especially among teens and young adults. And they are killing people. It is frustrating law enforcement officials who want to get the drugs off the street.
Cami was a very, and still is, a very interesting and a very gregarious young girl. Had quite a spark about her.
Millions of pounds have been spent making sure the message gets across to children this week that they take a deadly risk by abusing solvents and drugs.
Police there say they're alarmed at how many young people are turning to these lab-made drugs, which can have more powerful effects than their organic cousins.
Cami did well in school, excelled on the athletic field, and continued her spark.
914, I have a request to speak to an officer, specifically a bilingual officer at 614 North Oaks, Mariana Olvera.
Drug abuse and deaths among young people are increasing. Samantha Bultitude was just 21 when she died after injecting from a batch of rogue heroin. It killed 17-year-old Russ Hamblin days later.
Her mom and I divorced when Cami was right around 12, 13. And during that particular time, we could see that Cami was starting to drift away towards things that weren't considered to be a good youthful experience.
Designer drugs have exploded onto the scene here and across the country. They're lab engineered to magnify their effects and disguise them in drug tests. They have nicknames like K2, which is synthetic marijuana, and bath salts, which mimic cocaine or meth.
The numbers are still coming in, but it is looking like drug overdoses are now the #1 cause of deaths in the United States for people under 50.
And midline, I agree.
She started to struggle with grades, and she became more distant with myself and my wife Joanna, to the point where we could tell something wasn't right. Most of her adolescence was in and out of juvenile hall, in and out of different therapy programs.
2016, it's estimated between 59 and 65,000 people died of drug overdose.
Listen, these are backyard chemists. All they need to do is, switch up the molecular makeup of these drugs just a little bit, and they skirt the federal laws.
I got a call from Hayward Police, and he said that your car is parked on the street and it's been there for 5 days.
They become paranoid and ultra-violent.
And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I really thought my little precious girl was going to be locked up in this trunk and probably dead, because the crowd that she was hanging out with were thieves, and they were very, very bad people.
Received a call from a subject in the 1300 block of Shadowlight Drive advising there are 3 vehicles driving around. They keep stopping in front of her house. Her house has been, her vehicle's been vandalized numerous times. She said one's a green Jeep, there's the car and the truck, and they're all 3 following each other.
More Americans now die every year from drug overdoses than they do from motor vehicle crashes.
New Jersey and at least 27 other states have banned bath salt drugs, but everywhere else, even a 12-year-old can buy them legally.
The majority of those overdoses involve legal prescription drugs.
I think we found out a day or 2 later that she was back in Santa Rita, and we learned that she was pregnant.
Designer drugs are as plentiful as they are dangerous and blamed for unthinkable violence.
In 2013 alone, overdoses from prescription pain medications killed more than 16,000 Americans. Now, addiction is not new. But since 1999, sales of powerful...
And the truly horrifying thing is that there's no simple solution. There needs to be more education on the topics of addiction, both for people and physicians.
She went into like a delirium. She went into saying there's movies playing in her head, and she was on a 3rd floor balcony, and we got up there and she jumped off.